Hello and welcome back to the channel. Ed Paget here. Now, if you have pain right here, you might have tennis elbow. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to get rid of it from home. No visits to the doctor, no medications, no time wasting. So this is going to be part one of a two-part series. Let's go. Tennis elbow is the common name we give to pain on the outside of the elbow here. So these muscles all come together and they form a tendon which attaches to this place here. It's also called lateral epicondylitis if you're in the medical world. Now that's tennis elbow. On the inside, we can call this one golfer's elbow. And that's where all these muscles come together and they form a tendon here. This one's called medial epicondylitis. Now the funny thing is, you don't actually need to play tennis or golf to have either of those problems. It can come from simply lifting weights incorrectly. If you're doing lateral raises, that's a classic one, puts a lot of strain on here. It can come from carrying children, it can come from carrying shopping. But the question is, why does it come? And usually it's because the wrist and the shoulder, upper back, and even your hips are not doing their job as well as they could. So it's sort of the same as the knee, right? So the knee can be bullied by the ankle and foot and the hip, and the knee can have knee pain. Same thing with the elbow. If the wrist isn't working properly, the shoulder, back, hip aren't working properly, the elbow can really get messed up. So let's start by working on the wrist, loosening that up, and then move up into the back and the shoulder. All right, so what do we do first? Well, we want to make sure that both wrists are moving the same. Let's say you have tennis elbow on your right side. Well, can you lift up both elbows the same whilst keeping your palms together? Now, can you see this? I can't. My hands are pushed slightly this way. So this is a simple test to find out that actually my right forearm is tighter than my left. This is quite common in people who are right hand dominant. So I'm right hand dominant and my right arm is tighter. I've also in the past had right elbow pain. So what I did and really helped is started working with the wrists. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to kneel, put a little bit of pressure onto your wrists, but then turn your elbows inwards and outwards. Okay, so if you can't see that from that angle, it looks like this. My fingers are pointing forwards and I'm turning my elbows inwards and outwards. So this elbow pit is pointing towards you and then pointing back towards me. Straight away, I feel a tightness on my right side. So it's still there, still lurking in the background. Okay, once we've done that, let's say 10 times with the fingers pointing forwards, I want you to turn your fingers pointing outwards and do the same thing. This is working the shoulder and the wrist at the same time. Now I can emphasize one side by leaning a little bit more, so this is my left side, or I can go this way, and this will be my right side. So you'll find this really works deep into those muscles, but also there's a membrane that attaches this bone and this bone together, and that is what we're stretching in this exercise. So lastly, we want to stretch these forearm muscles, and that's best done by pointing the fingers towards your knees. Now from here, I'm going to go backwards slightly, keeping my palm flat on the mat, and I get a nice big stretch. Now I can't do any elbow movement in this case, but what I can do is move my hips from side to side. And that hip rotation, or that hip movement, causes a rotation into my elbow. So you'll see that from this position here. So I move my hips side to side, and now I get more stretch on my right side, more stretch on my left side. So whichever side the hip goes to, you should feel a little bit more stretch on there. So you might say, well, you know, the pain's on the outside. Why have I stretched all the inside here? Well, these two muscles work in balance, left and the right. Now, if this is tight, it will pull on the outside, so we have to loosen the inside. But also, it might be good to stretch the outside. And the way we're going to do that is like this. We're simply going to take the hand and put it onto the back of your hand here. And from here, we're going to do that same elbow exercise again. Now, when you first try this, you might find this very painful. A lot of people can't even straighten the elbow. So you may end up just like this. That's fine. All you're going to work on is straightening your elbows and getting the flexibility in those forearm extensors. Once you can straighten your elbows, you're going to start with the rotation. If you find that easy, you can actually take your thumb, fold it inside your hand, and then push down onto the back of your hand. And that'll add another layer to it. From here, maybe even some small mobilizations through your shoulder joints. Okay, so that's step one. We're going to loosen up the wrists. Next, we're going to move up into the back and shoulders. So you may be familiar with the cat-cow type position. On all fours, you're going to be arching up and back down. So this is going to be getting some nice flexion and extension through your upper back. Okay, so we can get some breathing going here. So you can breathe in this position, breathe in, and then breathe out in this position. Or vice versa, breathe in and breathe out, or the other way around. It's up to you. It doesn't matter too much, as long as you're getting some movement through your upper back. The next thing that we need to work on is your upper back's rotation. So a way to do that is to actually slide your hand through here and see if you can get your shoulder and hand down towards the ground. Because your hips are relatively fixed in this position by your knees pushing onto the ground, we're getting really nice upper back thoracic rotations. And so I want to do a few repetitions of that, okay? So we're going to push through and then come back up. Push through and come back up. Now when you do this, you'd obviously do both sides. And you're going to work hard to keep those hips still. Try not to move your hips too much so that the rotation comes into your upper back. So simply do that. On the other side looks like this. Now you'll find generally that one side rotates a little bit easier than the other. And that's to do with our hand dominance again and which way we habitually rotate. Right, so we've done the wrists and the upper back. Now we're going to get into the shoulders. All right, once we've warmed up the wrist and the upper back, we're going to go work in the shoulder. So I want you to find a bar or some rings. It doesn't matter which one. And we're going to put some traction onto there by dropping my body weight down, but I'm not necessarily hanging freely. I've still got my feet on the ground. Now from here, I'm going to turn my shoulders towards the actual hand on the side that my arm is up, and I'm going to get a stretch into my shoulder joint. Then I'm going to be turning back and getting a stretch the other way. So you're going to go backwards and forwards. Now, you may be more comfortable and can go all the way around, both ways, and that's fine. So you're just moving your body weight with your legs and getting a stretch in your shoulders both ways around, and traction. All right, you don't want to overdo this one. You want to go back and forth once or twice both sides and slowly build up till your shoulder and wrist can get used to that motion. I'm going to wrap this video up now, and if you've enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, but also click on that notification bell and send my channel to a friend who you think will enjoy this content as well. Thank you for doing those things. Your support makes a huge difference. Also, as you may know, I help people recover from illness and injury using a combination of specific exercises and lifestyle medicine, but I also focus on scoliosis. If you have scoliosis, I want to tell you about the amazing community I'm growing over on Facebook. And I would like you to join that Facebook group, which is where all the action and interaction with my community happens. Just follow the link in the description below or in the first pinned comment to join that group. Stay tuned for my next video, which will be up soon. See you next time.